In the last session of the day, we are going to have our indie presentations. Meriçer Yürek, an influencer, Can Sungur, will be with us. When we're ready, we can. Colonizer will hold the first. My name is Asude. And in the The levels of our game are in interaction with portals. For instance, there are moving portals, and it works the same way in increasing the platform moves. The portal interaction exists in our game as well, and as the it preserves the speed and projectiles the player. This is a mechanic. We have a plant. After the player takes the risk, it can use it as a wall. This plant can go through portals as well. The game is linear, so in narration there we do small scenes, or sometimes at the end of the level, sometimes between levels. At the end of levels, we have boss fights. So we try to add extra ones. All the boss fights are given with a runaway sequence. Right now it is working with drones. For instance, a drone is playing chasing the player, and it can go through portals. So we ensure transition between levels. After GIS 2020, I have added certain things. For instance, we have added death animations in a difficult level that gives you good experience. In order to make the puzzle easier, we have added some help dialogues. In higher levels, players were having difficulty to understand what to do. We added a binocular mode where they can see the whole level. We added a desert at the end of the third level. It's a new level with new mechanics, and we have changed visuals as well. We wanted to do something different. We didn't use drones, so we added a boss fight like this. It is chasing the player, and it's a boss fight in which the player can fight more actively. Thank you for your attention. The next game is Land of Boelia. This is an old school mascot platform game, and it brings it together with new design philosophies and open design philosophies integrated into it. We are developing it as its people. It was a student project, a completion project at Bahçeşehir University. Now we have started launching, and we have developed it through Techno. Inside the project, we have included many platform elements. The player can roam and discover this land. Inside this process, not only for our players, but also for hearing disabled, we're doing our best as well. It starts with awareness raising, then there's a AA idea reached, and in the final version, depending on session, there will be characters. There will be 4 different islands and one boss level. In addition to this, in general, everything can have fun with this game, and not only with mobile or mid-core, but we wanted to show that all extent games can be published in Turkey as well. The next game is Soulflow. Hello, let me talk about the game. It's a role-play story, a game where controlling a role, a spirit, and the goal is to find a person who dies and let the soul free. We have to engage in dialogue with other characters and we get some information. And at the end of 24 hours, one person in the neighborhood dies. If we're not in the body, it starts again. With the information that we get, we take notes in our notebook and we can continue on that information the next day to find the person who dies. Here you greet a person and change bodies and shift to the body of the other person. When we engage in dialogue with a different character, a different dialogue plays. So you can enter a different dialogue and get different information. You can enter the bodies of animals as well, and this way you can act a bit faster to other bodies. You can shift to other bodies and talk to other bodies. There are 3 different endings of the game. You can reach this based on the information that you obtain throughout the game. We wanted to choose different graphics in order to convey the atmosphere better. It's now on Steam at early access. As a studio, we have 5 different game types on Steam now. You can add the other 4 games to your list. Thank you.
Our next game is Building Hope. Hello, everybody. My name is Eray. I am the founder of Gyroscopic Games. The game I'm going to talk to you about is Building Hope. Building Hope is a refugee camp simulator. It is about establishing a camp and managing it. We announced the game around 1.5 years ago, and I have uttered these words thousands of times, and everybody was weirded about this sentence, and that's the exact response we are waiting. We received an investment. We are a 3-people team, and we want to have striking teams in our games. We had a preparation time of 1 year for this game. We wanted to learn the concept of refugee camps, what's inside the refugee camps. So we had to scan knowledge about it, and we have been actively developing the game for 2 years. Building Hope is a single-player game. It's a simulation game. The player is establishing refugee camps in different parts of the world in different conditions, and the player is trying to optimize the camp structures. The countries are Kenya, Somali, and at the end of 2030s, the climate crisis, as a result of climate crisis, the North European countries also need refugee camps. the role of the player is to meet the needs of the refugees in accordance with Maslow pyramid of needs. And the player needs to establish infrastructure buildings and meet the needs of the refugees. So the player needs to establish facilities and has to make hard decisions and also secure the camp. The reason for this theme is the contents can be expanded upon. So we have facilities, different buildings, but we can also work on security, or we could work on heating for colder maps. Well, this we have little contact with the community for now, but we will work on the details later on. In the next year, we are planning to fully release the game. And right now our Steam page is available. You can review the game and add it to your wish list. Thank you very much. The next game is Pile Up. Please come to the stage. The floor is yours. Thank you. Hello. We could just arrive due to technical difficulties. I'm going to talk to you about Pile Up. Pile Up is a game we developed as a team of 5. So we have joined several game conferences. I'm the game designer of the team. Emir Uysal is the sound design and our musician. Güven Görüntü is our 3D artist. Mustafa Kılıç is a game design. And Ali works on 3D and UI. Pile Up is based on card game mechanics, and it is in a relaxing atmosphere. In Pile Up, we tried to come up with an idea. Arda came up with an idea. He talked to us about Rose Island, and it's a story based on real life. It's a series. And in Rose Island, you can somebody builds their own country, establishes their own country. So this game, the idea evolved into a city building game. We need to serve 4 purposes in our game. As you can see, the first one is visuals of the game. So it should be relaxing. It should be an capturing, alluring atmosphere. Also, we incorporated card game mechanics to the game. We didn't want it to be too complex, and replayability is also important for us. In like Dot Romantics Islanders, there's not that much replayability because there is limited situations, but in our game, there are different situations and answers. Also, there are unique routes in our game. So even though in every other game you develop your city horizontally, but in our game you develop your city vertically. So let's talk about the goals and houses in the game. So as you can see, every house improves your population, and it allows your city to grow bigger, larger. But all different houses have different needs. So for those different needs, there are different situations arising. So if 2 certain buildings come next to each other, they can explode. Also, if some building is not built on solid ground, it can spill over and melt the building down it, below it. Also, you can see examples of wrongly placed buildings. So you have to know what you're building and where, and you have to work with narrow spaces. Our game is a round-based game, so I think since it has card games mechanics, it's better to be round-based instead of real-time. You have to use every single card every time. So you have to choose what cards you are choosing, because you will have to play every single card you have in your hand. Also, there are different types of buildings, and we have infrastructure buildings. So you will see factories, resource buildings, you see houses. In some parts of the game, your population will reach milestones, so you can build different factories. We will talk about support buildings. As you can see, you can expand your area, or you can build your city safely. Also, you will have special buildings or risky buildings. So support buildings will empower your city. Also, I would like to talk about risky or special buildings, and these are the most important buildings that allows us to utilize card game mechanics. If they are utilized well, they provide you with amazing benefits, but if they're used wrong, it can provide you with great risk. So with different special buildings, you can create different combos. So also we have rare buildings. After all the building types, let's talk about the feature of the game. In the current version of the game, we want to implement new types of buildings. I don't know if you can see it well, but we are working on different types of base islands, so it provides the player with different playing experiences, and it improves the playability. I would like to talk to you about the stats of the game. The Steam page has been open for 5 months. There has been 25,000 wish lists, and we had 35,000 demo players, and we have more than 1,500 Steam followers. And the majority of the followers are from USA and China. And in the Steam Next Fest, we had 12,000 concurrent viewers for 2 hours, and the stream was watched by 270,000 viewers. On YouTube, we shared our game with streamers, especially thanks to Mr. John. We have more than 1 million views on YouTube, and the content creators that play games in this genre showed attention to our game. Also, we have more than 400 active Discord users. Our plan is to establish a calm city, and we would like to make a blend of games, card games and city building games. Thank you very much for listening to me, and thank you. If you have any questions, I can answer them. Thank you very much. The next game is Dungeon of Voxel. Hello, everybody. I am Adam Akbaba. I'm going to talk to you about Dungeon Voxel. Let's hope I can. Let me introduce you my game. Our game is an isometric dungeon crawler. We use voxel art design. We used mixed light, so backlights and real-time lights, and we tried to come up with great visuals. And I think we managed to do so. So the world has become inhabitable for animals, and a company is established. The goal of the company is to clear dungeons underground for animals to be able to live in them, for animals to be able to habit them. These three people, including myself, are developing the game. There are some factors that affect the combat in the game. The critic one is the pets. Pets, uh, pets don't really take off the load of the combat from you, but pets can stun the enemy at the correct time, or they can place dots on the enemy like acid or like fire. We have a different difficulty type. I think difficulty system is important, and we think the game should be progressively harder. As you can see, there are three different gifts. I don't know if you can see it because of the light, but the first room is early game. There's only two enemies, but towards the end of the game, the number of enemies increase. Also, the HP and the difficulty of the groups increase. In GIST, we had feedbacks from you, and we tried to build upon our feedbacks. The fact that most surprised us was co-op. We could implement the co-op in one day, but we saw that people really enjoyed the co-op feature. So we are planning to add a co-op support of 4 people, and there are going to be several playable characters. We have an upgrade system in GIST. We wanted the players to find the weapons in the run, but we changed that system. We added an upgrade system and a resource system. You can use the golds and coins. You couldn't really use golds and coins in the game, so we added a sink for those. So when you clear a dungeon, you get coins or you get minerals. With that, you can research weapons, and with your gold, you can upgrade your weapons. And we have a choice system. It was a feedback of Tunapamir, and he said, I feel like the control isn't in my hands. So in order to prevent that, we added a choice system. So there are different skills, active and passive, in the game. So we present the player with these choices, and so you choose your power up. It's not an important feature, but we added 2 different biomes. We're planning to add 2 different biomes. They have unique enemies and bosses. Also, one of the most important feedbacks was that the game has really great graphics, but it doesn't really have that much content in it. It doesn't have that much detail in. So we added more guns, we added more characters, so we added more of everything really. So thank you very much for listening to me. Now our juries will share their reviews about the games. I cannot hear the speakers, so I can translate this part. as I mentioned, these are really great games, and I based my assessment on art of the game, the gameplay, the tempo of the game, the alluring aspect of the game. They're all really strong candidates, but some games have strong features. I like ground-based games. Colonizer uh, is a really strong game. Also, Castle of Alchemist is like that. In terms of art style and the controls, it really affected me. It shows me the potential of innovation, and I like that that it makes me replay the game over and over again. Pile Up has similar counterparts in terms of relaxing games. They added upon the game styles, and you really made a different game. Land of Borrelia, uh, I played the games before I came here. I like open world game. I don't really play open world games, exploration games. So this exploration sense was there. It was really different from the first time I have seen the game, but I'm not really into that genre. In terms of soul flow, it's a nice art, it's a nice flow, but the control and the tempo is slow in my opinion. But I can see the potential, and you can have different stories, you can unlock different stories or different emotions. Building hope is a risky genre, and by risky I mean you have a city building, different themes, but the strength of the theme and the emotions that it evokes is risky. It reminds me of This War of Mine, and I would like to see harsh reality. It should have a loaded meaning. And Dungeon of Voxel is a action-packed game, a really shiny game. Okay, Dungeon of Voxel is you added really nice detailed contents. I would like to congratulate you all. I can comment on every single game. I could give feedback on every single game. You're not alone in your journey. I am always available for indie game developers. Like you have the potential to globalize your indie games. Thank you very much for your presentations. I want to highlight this both in terms of Gaming Istanbul and this conference. So far, our indigenous indie games were not successful. We were thinking about them. We wanted to support them because they were Turkish, but I get sent codes on streams. For the first time ever this year in Gaming Istanbul, I can see games that I can criticize harshly. If I saw this game on Steam, I wouldn't review it in terms of Turkish developers. And these games are global games. So we are competing on a global scale right now. So you will receive harsh criticisms from me. I won't hide behind these games are local. Of course, it's nice to have local games, games from Turkey. So we will be proud of them. And in that, I would like to congratulate all the teams here. We had some other people from Indieway. They're not here today, but it's really making me happy to see such games. And my second opinion is if I saw these games, I would buy these games for 50 liras for sure. Okay, I'm moving on. Colonizer and Pile Up has something in common. Pile Up, you're not a card game, you're a deck building game. I would like to highlight that. You mentioned cards, but there's no cards. You have a deck, but it's deck building games and card games are different. And in terms of aesthetic presentation, you would want 5 cards popping up from bottom. So if somebody was looking for card games and if he didn't see the cards, he would be surprised. So you should use a deck building instead. And I have a recommendation for you. I will return to that later. Colonizer, you're going on a good road. You are able to tell your unique side. So I'm going to say, why should I buy this game? I can see why I'm buying Colonizer. Maybe you had some faulties in your presentation. Maybe you can tell whether you're going to add more mechanics or not. You can tell me about puzzles in the game. I think your presentation lacked that.
Focus of alchemists. I think they're developing themselves very well. I don't really have many comments of it. I'm kind of waiting for its release so that we can play on it. And for an indie game, addressing a specific spot within their own field, I think it's what's really needed. And they're not really expecting advantage. And for colonizer, it's not the case. I think there are more shortcomings for me. And I think you're about to find your own niche. Maybe you can exaggerate your momentum production mechanisms. And I have one criticism for Land of Forenia. People, I'm looking at papers here. I've always taken note of the mechanics here. There are many games in this genre, and you're adding one more mechanic here. For example, 2 dimensions, it can be deck building. I'm combining it with deck building. So if there is anything I'm missing it in the presentation, what is your unique mechanism? Is it only me discovering the open world, or is it rewinding the time? So it's like you expect more. Would you like to say anything about the mechanics of your game? Or well, there is something that we use to solve the puzzles when we combine it and when we collect it under the subgenre. Our antenna will be guiding light for us, and the puzzle solution mechanism when we combine them, it's gonna be much more beneficial. How is that working? Will it bring any difference? No, it is not working this way. It is rather than rather than polishing something, the puzzles could be revealed, or because 500 years, what the story takes place in a time period of 500 years, so some sequences will be revealed here. So with your sense and detective, so it's not like that. We don't really want to show it from this angle. It would be great if you underline the fact that all the indie friends here, I think there are many right now. So from a consumer's perspective, when I provide a piece of feedback, when the algorithm brings up a lot of similar games to me. So that's why I am pursuing something with unique mechanics. And I think we need to polish it a bit. We don't know what's going to come in the coming 2 years, but the body changing mechanics, for example, I think it's quite logical for building. Well, I've always talked of it highly. Building a, yes, it is a very courageous topic because it could be the village of Smurfs, right? But you are assuming a certain degree of responsibility here. Well, solutions will be there. What I mean by that is that will we be able to see the following? The chaos in the camp. I've been unable to do it, and there is more chaos. And we built this, and crime rates have gone up. And we did this, and they've integrated with society and reached good results. So, okay, am I constructing a camp or am I constructing something else? So, on the end game, this is a good solution. Is this the message that I will get? Uh, well, you can construct a city that is not poisonous, right? Or that is not toxic. I mean, do you think you can do it in building corp? I didn't emphasize it because I didn't want to take long, but for the but this is what we said. This is what I mean by Maslow's pyramid. The accommodation and the food, and they start asking for education, and this is when it gets more complicated, and this is where we're headed. Some quiet discontent happen there because winter comes to an end, and because we can see the final point, and I wonder the end game. But thank you very much for that pile up. I think it was the most energetic presentation. Thank you very much. It was great that you presented it this way, but I see some back and forth in your presentation as well. So is it, I mean, you tend to make a community happy and then you're making them unhappy. And I play parallel. So are you a shift builder or am I solving a problem? I think you need to strike the right balance between them. I think you're doing the same thing. And this is what we are targeting right now. But the demo, we are happy with where the demo is right now. As a result of the comments, shield builders, they are happy. And there are people who are satisfied with it as well. And we are trying out methods. So am I feeding the society? Am I satisfying the society? And for build back city builder, there is a game. I don't know if you've played it. The way they construct the city has an impact on the political of society. It's different mechanics. And I'm really happy that you designed it. But this is the mechanics that will make it sell a lot. And my feedback to feedback and upgrade systems, integration with upgrades, I think have attained a level where it's going to be successful. There is no construction, there is no destruction. This is what we would expect, but this is an aesthetic for me. That's all from my side. Thank you very much. I give the floor to Meriç. And I'd like to add on to what Dan said. For years, we were very familiar with hearing new games, and many of them we don't see in the next event because sometimes they lose faith in their product or they picked another pathway. Months have passed since Gaming Istanbul. Everybody worked on their project, everybody made progress, and it was the first time I felt in Gaming Istanbul. I was also talking to Tuna Cevher for years. We've worked on it for such culture to be established. Now I felt like a part of a giant studio in those months built on what we created. And I'm very happy before I wear my teacher hat, I first would like to applaud you. So I am working for this. People are coming for this particular reason. This is how I felt while watching your presentations. This was the positive side of my feedback. Now back to the negative side. Well, this is not necessarily negative, but the projects have come to a certain point when you need some marketing here. And people who have come up here, they now will have to make a decision. Well, we are very much professionals right now. we're going to work here behind the scenes. Somebody will discover us and sell for us, or we will have to improve ourselves. So the budgets are very much clear here, and you need to improve the way you present it as well. So I think you have passed Yamakur's line, the red line. I think you have already passed the second event. So apparently you don't have some losses either. So the way representations are prepared, I think to improve it. For colonizer, I think the representation, you need some energy, and it is a lovely product. It is a lovely game, and I think you were a little bit serene in the way that you presented it. Maybe it's good to improve yourself about that. And this is a title that I know very well, and unique setting position. I haven't really seen it. Well, had I not known the game, I would be asking this question to myself: what kind of a benefit was it offered to me? And the thing I stand against in against presentations is that there may be some shortcomings and deficiencies about the presentation. I don't really like it. What I expect presenters to say is that they have found solutions to certain, and I think the purpose stated at the very beginning of their presentations. So I think you need to adapt yourself to professional people, because this is not your game's desire and deserve. Ingression, I think, well, I'm not speaking only for ingression, but technical terminology would be good to use, because everybody knows how to develop and how to sell games. So progress, I have three starts for that. So in this many months, I've made tests to play, then it was good. So what is this game about? For example, I agree with John, and he was more technical and complicated in the way he presented it. And what about my purpose? What about the mechanics? I didn't really see the reason behind it. So it is a lovely project, but I don't think the gist of the game has been transferred to me. But this is my purpose. I'm going to start it this way. It's gonna end like this. I haven't really seen this. I wasn't expecting it from you. Uh, I don't have a target group and everybody is going to like this. There is no such thing. And so Croft, it started out very confusing, and the ending is very indecisive. And I heard a sentence like, you can purchase some affordable rates. Yes, are all friends here, but deliver your presentations by professionals. Well, this is the pricing that we've decided on the better way to put it. So I think everybody needs some strategy when it comes to marketing. Building Corp, yes, congratulations. For a long while, I haven't seen a project that perplexed me, and Building Corp has given me great hope, but at the same time, great fears. It's going to receive toxic backlash, but at the same time, it's going to receive solid support, and which will be weighing more. I really cannot anticipate it right now. So the theme, the fact that it's quite striking, you can talk about it more. You can emphasize it more about the theme, because you need to work on it a little bit. So at this, you need to avoid any criticisms that you may have found certain panels for certain cash flows. Yes, Violet, it was quite an energetic presentation. Yes, and everybody, well, not everybody is in their 20s. Yes, visually it is quite impressive. Yes, I agree with John, but it seems that there is a little bit of shift of focus here. And have you tried to expand it more than it is? So, pile up. I think it is changing a bit. This is my conclusion from the presentation. So the horizontal development and vertical development. This is being done for years, but if this is not what you mean, it would be better to use another to use the wording a bit more differently. Yes, you have the gaming, the mechanics, we have the game pillar, and we have the purpose, but I think more accurate flow is needed here. For example, especially, one thing struck me. You suddenly integrated the team, and then I've heard about the killer afterwards, so it was a bit confusing. We were very surprised, and we had no, this is not a professional approach. The line with feedback that we received, well, this is a better idea. This would be a better way to put it. So you talking about the gaming mechanics and you summarizing what you did great. So I think these are all the stars that I wanted to do, that I wanted to give you. Well, congratulations, everyone. Well, this is the second time that I felt I was working for a reason. Thank you very much, everyone.
Before we begin with the networking party, let me summarize the day, and I'm sure you will have many questions and comments for each other outside. Indeed, even as I was listening to the judges and to you, I had teary eyes. As Meric said, this is what we had been working for. On the first year of Gaming Istanbul, we started with 6 small indies, and in Gaming Istanbul, we hosted 56 games and teams. And now they are being built on top. So many people are working. Indeed, as John said, we don't call them just Turkish games anymore. They are global scale games. That is very impressive. As I was saying in the opening speech this morning, on social media, I see people asking, we don't know what Indieway is. This is what Indieway is. We did not do this to support indie games. Indie games was the business for development of the business ecosystem under Gaming Istanbul. It's just a series of conferences, not an association or a society. But what we want in the industry is that young people in Turkey will be able to compete globally, will educate and improve themselves and be in networking with each other and come to better levels, and buying B2C stands, B2C booths in Gaming Istanbul and hold big events. We see at the end that these games are coming somewhere, or they're going somewhere, and they are reaching global levels. Every 3 months with Indieways and with other communities events. Please continue educating yourselves. Please always keep in contact. And this way, let's do better games together to be better. And I invite you all to the net party.